Hi, welcome back to what is now day 20, the halfway point of me telling you the craziest story that you will ever hear of the things that have happened to me and my friends and my family over the last 7 months, since we discovered a way to unlock the most powerful psychedelic on this planet. Once we realized what DMT is and how it works, it has become the most incredible gift on earth. I am telling all of this while I am on a 40-day water-only fast. I'm not doing this for weight loss, but as of today, I'm down 21.8 pounds. But I'm actually only doing this so you'll take my story seriously and so that I can have a deeper spiritual connection. The most incredible things have been happening, and we are being guided to understand some of the biggest mysteries that mankind has always wondered. Yesterday, when we talked, we set the stage for one of our biggest turning points in religious history. It's when they canonized the Bible. Was it divinely inspired? Is it infallible? Or was a mistake made that will be one of the greatest of all time? Or was there a deliberate act of manipulation that has held humanity back for thousands of years? Today, we're diving deep into the origins of the Christian Bible, the political agendas that might have been behind its formation, and how mysticism that my friends and family have been experiencing on our journey, those experiences were suppressed to keep people from directly connecting to that divine energy for eons. The tools have been around for thousands of years, but someone needed to figure out how to unlock it. And since it seems to be us that have done that, our lives have become legitimately a sci-fi film. Most people assume, including Christians, that the Bible, as we know it, has always existed in its current form. And that is not true at all. I grew up Southern Baptist, and to question the Bible is blasphemy. Question everything. The Christian religion was shaped not by just divine inspiration, but also by political necessity. Over 300 years after the death of Jesus, a loosely structured Christian following were fractured and the doctrine varied widely. But in 325, Constantine and the Council of Nicaea gathered, and they played a pivotal role in shaping Christianity as the dominant religion in Rome and throughout the world even today. At the Council of Nicaea, religious leaders decided which teachings would become official doctrine and which would be considered heresy. And I want to emphasize that male religious leaders went through all of the available Christian texts, and at the time, they as a small group decided what Christians were going to believe and what does fit their desired doctrine, and that doctrine had an agenda. This was the moment Christianity was transformed from a diverse spiritual movement into a state-controlled belief system. So, while Constantine made Christianity legal, it was actually Emperor Theodosius I who made it the official religion of the Roman Empire in 380. But why did he do it? The pagan practices were rampant, dividing the empire, and he needed a way to unite the kingdom. This is all for control. And the way that they did that was making Christianity the official religion. The pagan rituals were outlawed, they were replaced with Christian events, and Rome tightened its grip over religious expression. This move ensured that the church would remain a powerful tool for controlling the population through a single monotheistic faith. And as a part of their attempt to control, they came down hard on Christian sects that were practicing a more mystical doctrine. And then in the mid-1500s, the Council of Trent is when the Catholic Church further cemented its authority. It declared that the Latin Vulgate is the only true Bible. It rejected any alternative interpretations, and it reinforced the suppression of mystical sects that threatened the church's monopoly on spirituality. And this really took the mysticism out of the relationship with the divine. Had that not happened, this planet would be a different place. Rome wasn't just trying to control religious beliefs. It was trying to eliminate direct spiritual experiences. It was trying to eliminate the ability to find the truth. The mystic sects within early Christianity, such as the Gnostics, were persecuted because they claimed that anyone could communicate with divine forces. And you can. I found a way to do it that is way outside of the box, and it is life-changing. But why were the mystics a threat? The mystic sects taught that people could experience God directly, but bypass the needs for the priests or an institution. The Roman Empire didn't fall, it became the Catholic Church. And these mystics worked with energy, saw visions, and understood the good and bad forces influencing our world. And by removing their teachings, the church made itself the only gateway to God. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene and the role of women was also one of the biggest glaring omissions on the stuff that I've researched. Books should have been in the Bible. Not only was her gospel excluded, but her entire role was rewritten. The Bible says that she was a prostitute, but the actual account of her life was excluded from canon. Teachings that talk about the key to spiritual transformation is developing inner knowledge. It shows Jesus' teachings on the soul and what happens after death. Also, his deliberate exclusion of the divine feminine, and it stripped women of their rightful place as spiritual guides within the church, and definitely should be leaders. There's no reason not to. And I'll dig more into this kind of text later, and stuff that I've recently learned. I'll do that here in the next probably week. But one of the biggest surprises in biblical archaeology happened in 1947, when they discovered that multiple copies of the Book of Enoch are among the Dead Sea Scrolls. This was unexpected because for centuries the church had claimed that Enoch was not part of the true biblical tradition, and that it was left out because it was an obscure book. And this book is wild. It's basically an account of Noah's great-grandfather being shown how the divine realms work and the beings that are within them. And they are completely aligning with the realm that we are dealing with, for me, my friends, and my family. It describes celestial beings, star portals, divine realms that challenge the simplistic heaven and hell narrative of a mainstream Christianity. And it's actually the truth. The book paints a picture of a universe filled with different spiritual entities, and some are benevolent, others deceptive, and some that are exactly the same ones we're dealing with right now. In the Old Testament, the term Elohim is used to describe God, but it's in its original form of Hebrew. The term Elohim is a plural word. This suggests a little g. That is legit. There are multiple divine beings. This also aligns with an even bigger concept, and that the being referred to as Yahweh may not actually be the prime creator that we have been worshiping as Christians, but rather a lesser God who demanded worship and control. It is not necessarily the God of love that I have come to know. So what is the next step? It's time to reclaim the hidden knowledge. The information is starting to just become public knowledge. It's just showing up in people's minds through different methods, but through ours is with DMT. And the deeper that we go, the clearer it becomes. Humanity was meant to understand that there is a true spiritual power, but that knowledge seems to have been deliberately suppressed. So tomorrow we're going to take a step back and do a recap now that we've passed the halfway point of the fast. But after that, we're going to dig into why so many of the major religions share overlapping themes, traditions, and stories, so that we can have a better understanding of how the spiritual concepts of this planet have evolved over time. Having an understanding of how all that has worked really helps you have an understanding of what is going to happen. For questions like, why does the flood story appear in ancient lore all over the world? We figured out why, and I'll tell you. It'll start to make a whole lot more sense. So stay tuned, because that part really blew my mind. So I'm being honest. This whole experience has blown my mind. I'm so happy that you're here. Please like, follow, continue with me along this journey. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.